The Pentagon is now actively investigating claims that Microsoft used engineers based in China to work on sensitive Department of Defense cloud computing systems, sparking concerns over cybersecurity and possible exposure to Chinese government surveillance. The inquiry follows a ProPublica investigation, which reported that, since 2016, Microsoft has hired foreign workers for Pentagon-linked cloud contracts, relying on a digital escort system requiring U.S. personnel to supervise non-citizen programmers. Critics, including Senator Tom Cotton, charge that these digital escorts, often individuals with security clearances but lacking in-depth technical expertise, may be insufficient to prevent sophisticated espionage or data leaks to the Chinese Communist Party. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth responded to Cotton's concerns, assuring that the Pentagon was already looking into the situation and emphasizing that foreign engineers should never have direct access to defense systems. Microsoft, for its part, asserts that all privileged contractors pass federally mandated checks and its protocols conform to government requirements, but the company's system ensures foreign support staff can only operate in unclassified environments without direct customer data access. The mounting scrutiny highlights ongoing anxieties about supply chain vulnerabilities, especially as U.S. agencies increasingly rely on private technology firms for critical infrastructure. With China's sweeping data cooperation laws and a global contest for cyber advantage, the outcome of the Pentagon's review may have significant implications for both national security and industry standards going forward. A federal judge has ruled that former President Trump's removal of Federal Trade Commission Commissioner Rebecca Kelly Slaughter earlier this year was illegal and ordered her reinstatement to the agency. Trump had dismissed Slaughter on the grounds that her continued presence was incompatible with the administration's policy priorities. However, referencing a 1935 Supreme Court decision known as Humphrey's Executor, Judge Lorne L. Alicon concluded that such firings are restricted by law. Presidents may only remove FTC commissioners for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance, not for policy disagreements. The case underscores long-standing debates about the limits of executive power and the independence of regulatory agencies, especially when leadership transitions span administrations with sharply contrasting agendas. Slaughter's return to the FTC marks a reaffirmation of legal constraints against politicized removals in federal commissions, potentially influencing future White House relationships with oversight agencies. In another development from Washington, Congress has approved significant cuts to public broadcasting, eliminating $1.1 billion in funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. This move, backed by the Trump administration and included in a $9 billion package of spending rescissions, directly affects organizations such as NPR and PBS. While some argue that flagship outlets possess sufficient alternative funding, experts warn that the brunt of the reduction will be felt by smaller local affiliates, particularly in rural areas where public radio and television provide essential national news coverage and crucial updates during severe weather or emergencies. For years, conservatives have accused public broadcasters of liberal bias, raising the political stakes of support for public media. The debate reignites long-standing questions about the government's role in funding journalism and the cascading effects budget choices can have on information access in underserved communities. Pressure for transparency in high-profile criminal investigations intensified as the Department of Justice formally requested a federal court to unseal previously confidential grand jury transcripts related to Jeffrey Epstein and his former associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Citing enormous public interest, the DOJ argued that the records, covering Epstein's 2019 indictment on sex trafficking charges and Maxwell's subsequent 2020 prosecution and 2021 conviction, should be made public, while assuring that victim identities will remain protected. This motion reflects the administration's emphasis on accountability and follows a recently concluded internal review which found no grounds to pursue charges against additional individuals. Despite the legal tradition of grand jury secrecy, the DOJ contends that the extraordinary notoriety and societal impact of the Epstein case justify an exception, and that continued speculation only fuels mistrust. Epstein was found dead in jail just weeks after his indictment, while Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year sentence after her convictions were upheld earlier this year, pending an appeal to the Supreme Court. Officials assert that unsealing these documents will provide critical historical insight and help dispel rumors, while upholding privacy obligations to victims and third parties. Observers suggest this rare move could establish new benchmarks for public access to court records in exceptionally sensitive or infamous cases. Meanwhile, a government audit has revealed that millions of Americans are simultaneously enrolled in Medicaid or similar government health insurance programs in more than one state, unnecessarily driving up costs for taxpayers by an estimated $14 billion each year. An analysis of enrollment data for 2024 found that around 1.2 million people were signed up for Medicaid or the Children's Health Insurance Program in more than one state, and an additional 1.6 million received overlapping benefits from Medicaid, CHIP, and subsidized Affordable Care Act exchange plans. Overall, about 2.8 million individuals are considered dual enrollees. These redundancies occur partly because eligibility systems across different programs and states struggle to detect and prevent duplicate enrollments, particularly as people move or experience changes in their employment status. To address the problem, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has announced a comprehensive review to update records and eliminate duplications, aiming to reduce waste and redirect resources toward those truly in need. The findings shed light on the administrative complexity of America's fragmented healthcare safety net and underscore the importance of robust cross-state data coordination as lawmakers debate broader reforms and cost containment. These stories underscore ongoing tensions in American governance, the checks and balances safeguarding agency independence, the consequences of budgetary decisions on access to information, fears over cybersecurity in an era of international rivalry, demands for transparency in confronting national scandals, and the persistent administrative challenges facing large-scale public programs. Each development serves as a reminder that decisions made in Washington resonate far beyond the Capitol, influencing lives, security, and public trust across the nation.